Let's talk about making space for healing in your life. So, first, I would like to describe the turmoil and see if this resonates with you. The turmoil that a cancer diagnosis brings into your life. We'll just go back to that 8 years ago when I was diagnosed, because it's still it's fresh for me in a way that is good, not fresh for me in a way that is bad or triggers bad emotions. I'm actually very grateful for my cancer in my life. I'm very grateful for my journey that I have been through, to really help me understand how I'm supposed to help people. And so that is a very important part of what I do and why I do what I do. So, but let's go back and describe what it's like to get diagnosed with cancer. First of all, you probably had something like I did, which is an outside symptom. Maybe not. Maybe it was found in a routine checkup or a routine scan. But one way or the other, the cancer has been discovered. We're just going to use my example, which was I found a lump in my breast, and that triggered a series of events. And the very next morning, I was into my primary care, actually my OBGYN, who was also kind of my primary care. I was into the doctor's office the next morning for her to examine what was happening, full of fear, full of anxiety, really worried about what I had found in my breast. She did an examination and she said, Leslie, this is not consistent with the tumors that I have felt that are cancerous. I believe that it's a cyst, but we should check it out. It's well formed. It's obviously something that you can feel in your breast. It should definitely be checked out. So I'm going to schedule a diagnostic mammogram for you. And she did that for me through her office. I was into that facility 48 hours later. And so I've been already from one doctor to the next. And so going into a facility that is just for women with breast cancer, was a diagnostic breast cancer or breast screening place. It was for breast health only. That's all they did in this facility. And so I walked in and it's full of pink. There's pink everywhere. All the nurses are in pink. Everything's pink, 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 pink. There are boobs everywhere. Breast, the word breast. There are a lot of women that are just there. You can see for routine. There are a lot of women there with a lot of anguish on their face, like I had. And it was busy and hectic. There was like 5 people checking people in. It was a busy place. And so it felt a little like a cattle call, quite frankly. And so I was like, well, this doesn't feel good, but okay. So I go in. Once I get behind the door, my husband's not allowed to go with me because it is just for women, just a breast cancer, or excuse me, a breast center. And so there is, so no men behind the door. So I had to go by myself. This is way pre-COVID. And so I had to go by myself. And I go back there, and I first time I'd ever been into one of these facilities, never even had a mammogram. I go in. There's nurses and they're telling me what to do and how to prepare and take off this and do that and put on this pink gown and, open to the front, make sure you don't have any, wipe everything off, make sure there's no lotions, potions, anything like that. And all I'm thinking is like, I have a tumor in my boob. That's all I could hear. Like, that's all I felt. It just felt horrible. And so I go in for the mammogram, and it's just this big, scary looking machine. And I'm like watching them between these 2 clear plates squish my breast. I can see it. I'm like, why are these plates clear? I should not be able to see what you're doing. So they do both breasts. They don't just do one, they do both breasts. And it's slightly painful, but not as bad as I'd heard. So I was like, okay, that's cool. I'm pretty normal size, like just normal breast size, very dense breast. So it was a little squeeze, but nothing major. Okay, that's cool. So get out of there. And the radiologist reads it right on hand. And the doctor, I was shuffled to a room. I go in the room. The doctor comes in about 20 minutes later, and she's like, well, here for a diagnostic, but I don't see anything in that breast. I just don't think that there's anything there. And so I'm going to bring a nurse in, and she's going to get some more information, and we'll see what happens after that. I said, okay. So nurse comes in, takes some more information, asks me all kinds of personal questions about my period and about my sex life and about my drug use and about my drinking habits. And, it's just like down and dirty, like information that you just don't share with people. And I was like, what is going on? And the whole time, anxiety level is like at a 12. And so that all happens, and the doctor comes back in, and she's like, I don't see any reason to go on with the diagnostic because there's just nothing there. I'm like, you can feel it. Like, you can feel it. She's like, well, if we do an ultrasound, you're going to have to pay for it out of pocket. And I said, fine, I will pay for it. And so there's another stress. I didn't have any money to pay for that ultrasound, but whatever, fine. I'll open a credit card account to do it. Whatever. Let's just find out what's going on. And so go in there, and they do the ultrasound and take a whole bunch of pictures of my left breast, and they do both breasts, right? And right breast was really fast. Left breast, where the cancer was like ridiculously slow. She comes back in, the radiologist comes back in, and she's like, yep, you're right. There is something there. And I'm concerned. Finally, but still terrified. I'm concerned. When a doctor says, I'm concerned, you just want to run and hide. Your whole life flashes before your eyes. You guys know what I'm talking about. I'm concerned, she said. She said, I think, and I said, what do you think it is? She's like, I don't know. We need to do a biopsy. And I said, do you think it's cancer? And then I lost my shit, quite frankly. And she's like, let me go get your husband. Thank you. So she brings my husband back. He walks in. I am just out of control, sobbing. Like, it was just ridiculous because I tend to overreact to situations like this. And so that all happened. And then, I know this is a long story, I promise I'm getting to a point. And then I get to, and then we get to the biopsy. I made them do it in the same day. So I've not left this facility. I told us I'm not leaving until you do a biopsy. My mental health cannot handle it. And she said, I agree. She said, I've never seen anybody as upset as you are. And I said, well, I'm sorry that, and she's like, it's okay. Let's just do the biopsy. Let's get some answers. Okay, great. So they do the biopsy in the same day. I'm not even prepared for like what comes next. Like I didn't even ask if the biopsy is painful or anything. I'm just like, let's do it. So they shuffle me to another room. It's very dark in there. They're using the sonogram again. I can hear this clicking and this pinching noise, and they're shooting stuff in my boob, and oh my gosh. So then I look over, and there's this little tray that has these little jars on it, and I can see samples of my tissue in those jars, and it's all bloody and it's crazy. So that part of the day is over. I leave out of there. I'm still hysterical. I have to wait. Like, it's 5 days before Christmas. So nobody is doing reading biopsies. And so, but again, my mental health can't handle it. So I bulldog it till somebody gives me an answer. Sure enough, I get the phone call because everybody's out of the office. Just a few days before Christmas, that it's cancer. Then the whole shooting match starts all over again. You need this doctor, you've got to make this appointment. You need to do this. You need to make sure that you're doing this, XYZ, plus all the things that I should think that I should be doing to heal, and what has gone wrong, what could possibly go wrong, plus managing my own emotions, plus just going through life just personally. I was supposed to go to Texas. I live here now, but I was living in Colorado at the time. Had to get my mom, and I call my mom and dad. I'm an only child. And I was like, can you please come here? Because I just don't think that I can do this. And And I already told them I had cancer. And oh my gosh. So my parents drive like on Christmas Eve all the way to Colorado to be with us. I'm a complete mess the whole time Christmas. I'm saying, take my picture. Make sure you take my picture. This might be the last Christmas that I'm here. I was saying these things out loud. Make sure you get a picture, Mom. Make sure you and I get a picture. Dad, make sure we get the three of us. Make sure, like, that's how you'd want to remember me anyway. This might be the last Christmas that I'm here. This is that snowball. And so I was so fixated for the next several months on fixing the problem that I had not reserved any time for fixing the problem. I ended up losing about 30 pounds in about 6 weeks. I couldn't eat. I was only sleeping about half hour a night. I was telling everybody in God's green earth that I had cancer. I was a mess. But I thought I was doing it right. I got a holistic doctor. I got some other doctors on board to teach me and train me and to help me so I could get some advice. I met with all kinds of oncologists, picking the right one. I actually ended up having surgery about 2 months after that on February 14th, 2013. And I was so busy trying to fix. I ignored one crucial component. And that's what was going on up here. Excuse me. What's going on up here? Now then, often I go back and I visualize myself with the knowledge that I have today. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to take a drink. With the knowledge that I have today about healing my life. I think, what if I had had somebody like me to teach me how to respond so that these massive freak out sessions that I was having that would go on, I would go on 3 or 4 day freak out binges. How do I manage that so that I could actually stay in healing mode? No, Penny Lane, go lie down. He's in and out of the door and she's freaking out. Somebody needs to talk to my dog. Somebody needs to tell my dog. But how do I manage this? How could I have managed that differently? And so often I go back and I coach myself through that process. I coach what I would have said or what I would have done differently to help me through that process. And the one thing that keeps coming up over and over and over again is not only managing my thoughts, but also making space for healing to occur. And I'm going to talk about what I mean by that, because that could be a little confusing, and I get that. But when we get caught up in that doing, right? Doing, we're doing stuff to the cancer. We're treating the cancer, right? We're healing or we're curing or whatever we're doing in that process. We forget to make space for the healing to actually occur. There are 3 things that I ask every single person to commit to when they come, when I invite them, when I get on a call with somebody. So that first call, let's just explain what happens in that first call. If you make a first call with me, we get on that phone call and we have a conversation, an honest conversation about what is happening to you, what's going on. If I can help you, I will show you how. If I can't, I will give you the resources to get the help that you need. Okay? Not everybody's a fit, and I get that. Not everybody needs how I serve people, and I get that. And so that's why I do that first call, so that I can understand if I can help you. And if I can, I make that offer. If I make that offer, there are always 3 things that I ask every single person to commit to. One of them is to remain coachable, to stay open and to do the work. That's the first thing. You've got to be willing to do the work. The work only works if you do it. Number 2, there's a financial investment. I'm a professional cancer coach. There's an investment to be made. If you're going to work with me, that investment has to be made. If you want the best, if you want that person that is going to love you through this process and teach you how to heal, I can do that. There's an investment for that. And then the third thing, the third part of that puzzle is time. You must make time in your life, physical time, emotional time. You must clear space in your life to heal. You must make time emotionally. You must make space emotionally, physically, financially even, to heal. You must judge if it is worth it to you to do that. Some people just want to go through the motions, right? Tell me what to do and I'll do it. That's not the kind of person I work with. That's the kind of people your doctors love. Tell me what to do and I'll do it. Whatever it is you want me to do, I'll just do it. Let's just get rid of this thing. But then they don't address what healing truly looks like in their life. And a lot of times the cancer ends up coming back. It's a sad truth. I saw a meme, and I'll read it to you. I saw a meme that says, I just saw it today, actually, and there was a whole series of these things that I'm about to read to you. But one of the things it said is, being in debt is hard. Getting out of debt is also hard. Choose your hard. And then it went on to say, life is difficult. We must make decisions. I'm going to say the same thing about having cancer. Having cancer is hard. Choosing or healing cancer is also hard. Choose your hard. What gives you the most? Does being in debt give you more joy than being out of debt? I think not. Does having cancer give you more joy than working towards not having cancer? I think not. I had a client say to me one time, she said, I may never be free of this cancer. I disagreed with her, but I may never be free of this cancer, but I will tell you what I am free of. And that is the control that it once had over my life. I no longer am controlled by it. I control it instead. That's a big distinction. What if you had control over this situation? What if that girl, me, who was so scared 8 years ago, had control of that situation? How would I have acted differently? Now, lucky for me, I had the fortitude to work through that process. It took me about 2.5 years to figure out how to get my poop together so that I could heal and never have cancer again. That was also very important to me. Never get cancer again. I had a high reoccurrence, right? What is it? Where is it? How is it? Do you need to make space in your life for this healing? Are you so plugged up with the day-to-day, with the routine, with the thing, with the treatment, with the idea, with the crazy diet, with all the supplementations? You're not taking time to actually focus on what creates healing in your life? The big difference between me and, I don't know, let's just pick anybody. Who else works in this space? The big difference between me and, I'm trying to think of somebody. Who am I trying to think of? Just anybody that works in the healing cancer space, right? The big difference between me and those people, or that person, is that I take singular time with my clients to help them heal. I go through understanding what kind of cancer you have. I ask those questions. I ask, what are you struggling with? Because we all want it to be a thing, right? We all want it to be a thing. We all want it to be a diet. Thank you, Anne-Marie. Chris Work, great example. We all want it to be Chris's diet that's going to solve the problem. Not have cancer anymore. None of us want it present in our life. None of us are like, yippee, cancer, yay. Not even me. Cancer was a huge blessing in my life. But none of us want that. But what do we put out there? How do we direct that energy to make it have purpose in our life, to serve us instead of keep us in jail? We all want it to be a thing. We all want it to be somebody's diet. We all want it to be somebody's supplement regimen. We all want it to be cancer treatments at our medical facility. We all want it to be something. I am here to tell you the thing is not a thing at all. It's a someone. You. You want to know the silver bullet? You are the silver bullet. You just have to activate what that looks like in your life. Is diet important? Yes. Are some cancer treatments important? Sometimes, yes. Are supplementations important? They can be, yes. But the one thing that everybody that I know that has been my client or not, that has healed, the one thing that they have in common is that they did the work here, as well as all that physicality. One of the things that cracks me up when I talk to somebody, and if you've said this, please don't feel bad about it, but it does make me giggle because you guys know that I'm just a big open book and I don't hide anything. But it does make me giggle every time somebody says this. And I may have giggled at you even, and it's not to be offensive. It's just because I hear it so often. I will ask people, how's this going for you? How are you supporting yourself emotionally through this? Because cancer is as much of an emotional roller coaster as it is a physical roller coaster. Everybody would agree with me, right? Everybody here right now would agree with me, correct? It's as much of an emotional roller coaster as it is a physical roller coaster, right? So I ask people, how are you supporting your emotional journey? Almost every single person will say to me, oh, I'm a very positive person. Not everybody. Some people are super honest with me and say, I only see darkness. It's very hard for me to see the light. Oh, I'm a very positive person. Thank you. You guys are saying yes to the original question, right? I'm a very positive person. I'm very positive about, this. Okay. Well, let me ask you this question. What is your biggest fear about what's happening to you? Then the floodgate opens. This and that, and this and that, and this and that. Oh my gosh, I'm so afraid of cancer treatments. Oh my goodness, I'm so afraid of losing my hair. Oh my goodness, I'm so afraid that this cancer is going to grow and spread outside of its area that it's in right now. Oh my goodness, I'm afraid I'm going to die. That list is huge, by the way, of the fears that those are just some of the top 5 fears that I hear. Those lists are huge. Then I go back and ask them, how is your positivity serving you through those fears? Do you know why that is? You can be a very positive person and still be way jacked up emotionally. Cancer still have you under its thumb, mashing you. And you know why that is? Because you haven't done the work up here in the mindset. The most dreaded of all dreaded is mindset work. Nobody wants to do it. There's not a single client that's like, yay, it's mindset week. Some of them would probably rather have chemotherapy than do the mindset work. Let's just be real. Right? It's hard. It's hard staying stuck in your mind. It's hard healing your mind. Choose your hard. How will you choose to heal your life? Most people are only talking about how to heal cancer. How do you get rid of cancer? How do you heal your life so that cancer doesn't have a place to hang out in? That girl I was talking about 8 years ago that was so scared and so afraid, she realized, that's me, by the way, she realized that she had to heal her life, that she needed to right some wrongs. And I'm not talking about going to people and apologizing, although some of that did happen. I'm not talking about or forgiving, my best friend in seventh grade for stealing my boyfriend, who really that never happened. I just use that as an example all the time. I'm not even talking about that. I'm not talking about an abusive parent or sibling or a relationship that doesn't serve you anymore. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about what heals your life. What makes your life worth fighting for? When you're clear on that, and I promise you, every single one of my clients are either clear or getting clear on what creates a life worth living. When you find that, you are turning the head towards healing. And cancer has no longer got you under its thumb. The roles have reversed. You are the thumb. This is cancer. And you have got your thumb on the cancer. And you are giving it pressure to leave your life. We all want healing to be a thing, but it's not. It's someone. It's not something. And that is you. That is you. Lydia's saying, hardest thing is being in my head. Yeah, it's hard, especially if you're fighting a long-term disease, or if you're cancer-free and you're fighting the fear of recurrence. That's also really huge. The one thing that every single person that has healed, that has either been in my care or that I have knowledge of, it wasn't chemotherapy, it wasn't radiation, it wasn't surgery, it wasn't a trial, it wasn't nutrition or ripping, not ripping, that's not the right word, some sort of weird restriction. It wasn't a supplement protocol. It wasn't any of those things. It was their decision to heal. Knowing why, knowing how, understanding what makes the life inhospitable to cancer and disease. You have to do the hard stuff. It's not just one thing. It's a lot of things that create that. And here's the real rub. It's different for every single one of us. For some of us, it's spending time in the quiet. For some of us, it's spending time with our children or our grandchildren. For some of us, it's even work. It's me. I'm fully confident. Another reason why I've been cancer-free so long is because I have been working in my passion for so many years. And my responsibility and my accountability to you guys as the cancer coach, like I call myself the cancer coach, that responsibility is immense and I take it very seriously. If I'm going to come here and tell you that you can heal, I better darn well know that that is true for me as well. And I better be walking the walk if I'm going to jabber the talk. Everything you need to heal is inside of you right now. Now, that does not mean that you avoid chemotherapy. That does not mean that you avoid cancer treatments. That's not that you can eat ding-dongs all day. Do people even know what ding-dongs are anymore? Okay, I should use another example. That doesn't mean that you can, get drunk every weekend and act a fool. That doesn't mean you can drive without your seatbelt and beat all the odds because sometimes you're some sort of mythical creature. We're not trying to create a mystic, metaphysical thing. We're trying to get you to ignite that life worth living. Cancer doesn't thrive in a space like that. It can't. Sometimes we get so bogged down. This is where I was going with all of this. Sometimes we get so bogged down in the doing, the treating, the physical part. We forget to make space in our lives, in all of us, in every part of our life to heal. We leave that part out. Don't. Whether you're doing that with me, you're doing that with somebody else, do not leave that part out. Find somebody that wants to talk to you about your specific journey, what you are specifically dealing with. Anybody else is just trying to take your money. They're giving you Band-Aids. Bottom line. Sorry, going to call it like I see it. There are a lot of cancer coaches out there. I'm not the only one, even though I call myself the cancer coach. You must walk in full gratitude for the journey. You must make space in your life for this healing to occur. Don't get so hung up on statistics and numbers and this person that and that person this. Comparison will squash. We need to talk about that actually. Comparison will squash your journey in two shakes because guess what? You're not that other person. You must take the responsibility. For some reason, you have been given this mantle. You have been given this thing to bear. There is some purpose for it in your life. Look for it. Allow it to heal you. Allow it to become part of who you are. I am not cancer. My cancer does not define me. Even though that's what I do for a living, it does not define me. It propelled me forward. It taught me something about myself that I would have never known had it not been part of my life. It's not who I am. It just happened to me. And then I happened to it. All right, you guys, that's all I have for you this evening. I could go on and on and on and on and on and on and on about this. If this is something that you're struggling with, if this is something that you want different in your life, if this resonated with you this evening, now's the time. If you've been sitting on that button, book a call button, looking at that book a call button, there's that button again. Oh, there's a reminder. Oh, I got another email from Leslie and she's saying she's inviting me to make a call with her. Boy, I should really do that. She could probably help me. And you're having limiting beliefs around that. Stop. That call is completely free. First of all, there's absolutely no pressure to do anything. I'm going to tell you if I can help you. If I can, I will. Yes, there's a financial investment. Yes, you're going to have to invest in your health. Yep. You're going to have to show up and do that. You're going to have to show up and do the work. You're going to have to make space for healing financially, emotionally, physically in your life. Yep. But is it worth it to you? Are you ready to build a life that is worth healing? It's a big question. Maybe you're not. That's okay. Never met anybody who said that they weren't. Not a single person. If I can help you, I will show you how. If I cannot, I will point you in a direction to get the help that you need.